Welcome one, welcome all to DeFi Crypto and Airdrops. I am Mike, aka Veteran Crypto, and today I just got home. Went on a bit of a road trip. Went with my lady up to Yellowstone, and had a little bit of a vacation. And did some house sitting for some friends, but want to do a live stream because during my drive I was thinking that I don't think I've ever really done an episode on how I personally find pools to inject liquidity into to get the best yields. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump on into it. So as you can see on the screen, the the tools that I find the most useful, and actually, let me throw this up on my big screen so I can see it a little better. But real quick, before we dive in too deep, let's give a shout out. Random, how's it going, brother? Wispy, as always, appreciate you. Doobie Doo, Kyle Watts, appreciate everybody in the chat. If you have any questions, I'm actually going to go as long as we need to today. I really want to do a solid episode for y'all and give you some great alpha. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, and I will make sure that I get to them. So with that being said, DeFi Llama. This is probably the strongest tool, and I'll explain why. So actually, let me show this because it will help. If you ever want to know the rules that I follow as far as picking a liquidity pool, is this right here. It's pinned to the top. Follow me on X at veteran the number 4 crypto, and here pinned at the top. I got this from Crypto Labs Research. Great bunch of guys. If you want another place to learn about DeFi, they are very, very knowledgeable. Actually, more knowledgeable than I am. They have a whole team over there that works on this. Again, I am just sharing my experience learning DeFi and giving you more of a 100 level of DeFi, to get you started because they're so advanced. A lot of times the stuff they talk about is just, it's like they're talking Greek. So what I try to do is dumb things down, for people like myself that, some that maybe need things, put a little more simply. So with that, and they're dealing with millions of dollars, I'm dealing with tens of thousands. So with that being said, these are the DeFi rules. First of all, is you need to believe in the assets. If you want to, play with meme coin pools because they have high APRs, or you just want to chase APRs, that's fine. But treat it like you do with memes, in a regular crypto portfolio. Take a very small percentage and make sure that you're taking profits and converting those into a stable coin or a good blue chip. Something like Bitcoin, Chainlink, Arrow, something like that. Something that you have, strong conviction in. And the reason being is me myself, and this I'm going to use myself as an example, is I am in this, and have been for basically since I started DeFi. I've been in this wrapped ETH USDC pool, and it's earned me a lot more than I have invested in it. I would say around $5,000 that it's made me, and but it's been sitting out of range. You can see down here. This is VFAT. This is DeFi aggregator, and I'll get to what that is later. But you can see that I'm well out of range. You can see the green area. I need ETH to get back up to $2,400 to get back into range. I feel that ETH at some point, God willing, is going to get back into range. And when it does, I'll start earning yield again. And the 1.68, worth of ETH, the 1.68833 worth of ETH that I'm hodling right now because it dropped out of the bottom will go up in price. It's worth about $3,000 now. When I go back into range, it'll probably be worth about $4 or $5,000. So right now, I'm basically hodling ETH, and that's why you need to believe in the asset. That is why you need to believe in the asset. Is if it takes a dump and goes out of range and you're hodling that asset, the only way that you lose money is if you exit that position and then you've locked in those losses. So the couple of $1,000 that I'm down because it dumped out of range, I lock that in. And once I lock that in, I either have to just hodl that asset, which I'm doing already, so I might as well stay in the pool, or I need to take that liquidity and enter into another pool that's in range that's going to earn me, the a yield that is going to make up for those losses. And I've done that with this, and it'd take me about 11 days with a really good performing pool to earn back, what I would need to get back to where I was at. And to be honest, I'm earning on other pools, so I'm not that worried about it. So I'll end with that. So TVL, I like to see $250,000 worth of total value locked in a pool. So if you look, like on Aerodrome here, you have your volume, you have your fees, and you have your TVL. So TVL on this wrapped ETH USDC, 29 million. Plenty of total value locked. Reason for that is when you are entering and exiting a liquidity pool, then you can there's something called slippage. And if there is a very low TVL, say there's $10,000 and you're wanting to put $10,000 in, you're going to get significant slippage going in and coming out. You're going to potentially have to adjust and take a loss just to get in and out of that liquidity pool so it doesn't destroy the pool. So the more liquidity that you're going to inject, the higher the liquidity or TVL that you want the pool to have. Next, you want the 24-hour volume. I like to see it equal to or greater than the TVL. It's just a good rule of thumb, easy to remember. Same thing. You got your volume. TVL 29 million, 24-hour volume or the volume is 738 million. And that's probably for the week because of the way Aerodrome works. It's the epochs are a week long from Wednesday to Wednesday. And that's how the locks pay out. And so that's kind of how a lot of these analytics work. So you can divide that, say by 7. We'll just round it to 700 million. You're looking at about 100 million a day. So well over the TVL. And the reason that you want high volume is because volume is what's paying you yield. I can't stress that enough. APR isn't what is paying you yield. It is the volume that is paying you yield. So it is important that you don't just go after a high APR. Because if you look at this this wrapped ETH USDC, supposedly a minute ago it said it is over 1,000% APR. But if you come over here to where you get more realistic, uh, analytics in real time, you can look. That same ETH USDC pool on Aerodrome is only actually paying 101%, only 101%. But that's very different than the 600. So this is, a lot more accurate. And that kind of thing comes with time and experience, knowing where to find, accurate information because different platforms will display, APRs and things like that differently. And it updates differently. It might update every few seconds on one, it might update every few minutes on another. So it's important that you don't chase APRs because they fluctuate wildly depending on the volumes in the market. So, have a long-term mindset. All right. So back to this. A trusted DEX. Me personally, Uniswap, Aave, Aerodrome, Morpho, platforms that have big money behind them are the ones I go to. I'm not going to go to some obscure DeFi platform because they have high APRs. If Usually if there's high APRs, it's because they're trying to attract liquidity. and it's not a well-established platform. So I stay away from those. High correlation. If you're doing a liquidity pool that has a pair that one of them is, that one of them isn't a stable coin, like all of mine, I have a stable coin as one of the two assets, and I'll get into that. But if you don't, and you have something like ETH and Bitcoin, they're going to move like, Bitcoin might be pumping, ETH might be dumping. So they're moving up, opposing each other. They're not moving they're not correlated or moving together. So if they're moving in different directions, you're going to get a thing called divergence loss. And the more they diverge, the more the loss. So you want a high correlation. And there's tools that you can use for that. And one of them is on DeFi Llama. There's a correlation matrix that I've shown, multiple times. And so the higher the correlation, the better. You want the chart to be trending sideways or up. So I use DexScreener, and I hope you're all taking notes. And actually, let me check the chat real quick. So let's make sure that we don't got any questions. All right. Looks like we do. One quick question about Arrow. I was looking into the flight school bonus. All right. I will star that, and I will make sure that I get to that at the end, random. I don't want to. I want to take my time answering that because there's a lot of nuances to it, and I want to make sure you maximize your flight school bonus. Let's see. Hell yeah, Uncle Tommy. Morning, brother. I appreciate you. All right. Yep, Uncle Tommy, you're officially out of range in the ETH Club. Welcome to the club, brother. Welcome to the club. All right. Let me get back to it because I don't want to get off track. All right. So we have. Come on. There we go. All right. So as you can see here, DexScreener. Make a note of this. This is key on ranged positions. You need to have this tool. There's other ones out there. I personally use DexScreener. And the reason being is you can go to some place like Aerodrome. Sorry, it looks like my computer's running a little bit slow. I got a lot of tabs open. So you can go to, say, Aerodrome here. You can hover over these three dots, and you can see the pool address pops up. You have the gauge address, ignore that. But you can see the pool address. You go up here, and there's the little copy. You can copy that. You come over here to DexScreener. You click in search. You paste it into there, and you'll see that pool pops up. It's the wrapped ETH USDC on Aerodrome on base chain. You can look at the market cap, you can look at liquidity, you can look at the 24-hour volume, 144 million. Fuck yeah. You click on it. It's the one that I had open. So, you can see this is where I was tracking mine. I needed to get back up to about $2,400 to get back into range. It's been ranging down here forever. If I would have freaking adjusted, I could have been earning this whole time. But that's neither here nor there. So this is why you need to use this tool, is so that you can track your position. Because when I had Kelly on, he explained some basic TA or technical analysis. You want to find the historical range that this pool, that this liquidity pair has been ranging in, and you want to find it so that it is as long as possible. Because the longer you stay in range, the time in the pool is going to make you the most money than just getting in a pool with a high APR for 15 minutes and then it falls out of range, or the APR drops to single digits or something. You want something that is getting a good solid APR, 20, 30, 40, 50% over a long period of time. If you look at my positions, like my arrow positions, they are full range positions. I'm making a steady 40%, 24 hours, 7 days a week. They never go out of range. It's just earning me a solid 40%. Done. when I was on vacation, when I'm hiking around Yellowstone, if I'm on a plane, if I'm sleeping, whatever, I'm making 40% APR like clockwork. That's huge. So, but in ranged pools, you can see here the reason I selected this wide range at the time was because it had been ranging through here. I could have made it tighter, because to get a higher APR, because the tighter the range, the higher the APR. The wider the range, the lower the APR. But again, I wanted a nice wide range because at the time, I and many was Bitcoin had pumped. We were waiting for Ethereum to pump because how the cycles usually work, and then alt season was supposed to come after that. So at the time, I was expecting ETH to pump. So I set it wide because I wanted to make sure that I was getting that price appreciation plus earning yield, and if it got volatile, it was going to stay in range. As we all know, hindsight's 2020, it dumped down and it went out of range. It started ranging in here. So I rebalanced. I basically exited that position, locked in losses, re-entered a new position, and I earned for a while. So all this time I was earning yield. All this time I was earning yield. All this time I was earning yield because I had rebalanced again. And so that's where I earned like $5,000-6,000 in yield, and why I'm not sweating the $1,000 that I've lost so far, from impermanent loss. So, and then it dumped down into this range, and that's when I stopped rebalancing. I'm like, I'm not chasing this all the way to the bottom. And of course, it bounced up to here, and now it's been ranging here. But if you look, like say that I mess with these lines here, you can see how historically these pools like to find ranges. So, basically it was in this range, it dropped down into this range, it came back up, and it's respecting that range again. So potentially, if it doesn't, break down or break up, it might be doing this for a while. So this might be a good range to get into. If you want to set it a little wider, if you don't think that ETH is going to go down anymore, you can set your range to where it maybe includes, this other range, area where it was ranging. You're going to make less APR, but you're not going to have to worry as much about the volatility. It's all about the maintenance that you want to, how often you're able to check on these things, and you're able to check the prices, on these pools and assets. If you are retired or you do this for a living, because you can treat this like a business, then you might be able to do tighter ranges. And I would suggest, this isn't financial advice. This is what I do. I do wide ranges or full ranges. And that's 80% of my DeFi portfolio. I with 20%, I do ranged positions. Like this is one of my range positions here. So you can see I'm earning 150% right now on Plume. It's about $1,000. It's one of my mini ranged. But oh no, sorry, this one down here. I have $2,644 in this ranged position, which is from 15 cents to 25 cents, a very wide range. Um, Actually, you know what? I'll pull it up and show you, since I'm not pressed for time or anything. Where are you at? Doo-doo. Pool info. There we go. There we go. All right, so we'll copy that. And you can see on Uniswap, this is the fees that it's earning, over time. All right, so and again, actually, let's share the screen. Again, all I'm going to do is I'm going to paste it into here, and you can see on Uniswap, on ETH mainnet, Plume position, it's a V4, and here's all the stats on it. Click on it, and it opens up. and you can see this is, the same thing. I was charting, and I can't stress this enough. You need to track your DeFi portfolio. You need to track your earnings. You need to, the fees that you've earned, how much you initially, put into that pool, because otherwise you don't know if you're being profitable or not. So there's a bunch of trackers that I use, and I can show those if people are interested as well. But as you can see, 15 cents to 25 cents. So you can see down here the light blue is that wide range. You can see how wide that range is. I mean, I didn't look for, any lines of resistance or support or anything like that. Um, well, I take that back. I did look at, kind of the lowest that it had gone other than this little, anomaly. Since they started the pool. You can see back here, it was a line of resistance for a while. And then here it's been acting as a line of support. It's been bouncing off of it. And up here, I set it way up here because that's kind of the highest that it had gone. So again, when I was out hiking around and stuff, I didn't want to have to worry about it. I actually had this narrower range before I went on my trip. And you can see it bopped out for a while, but I didn't want to have to worry about it. So I closed that position and just added it to my wide range position, just so make sure that that liquidity was earning for me. So this is the significance of DexScreener, is to understand where the pool has moved in the past so that you can select that, line of support and that line of resistance so that you can optimize the amount of time that you are in range and earning yield, unless you're going to do lending or a full range pool. So I hope that makes sense. All right, let's see what questions we have. I want to make sure I get these starred for the end. Afternoon, Ellie, good to see you. Jay, oh yeah, 40% is amazing. I mean, if you've done TradFi at all, 10% APR or 10% a year is considered a stellar year in TradFi. If you're making an average of 40, 50, 60% in the foundation of your portfolio, your DeFi portfolio, which is like, for me is lending and full range positions, that is freaking mailbox money. I mean, that's showing up every month. If you can cash out a couple extra $100 a month or a couple extra $1,000 a month, that's just rinse and repeat. That's powerful. And then if you have a small amount that you're using for these range positions to just add some gravy, onto that, then that's how you're going to turn your DeFi, business into something that's going to change your life and change your family's life into the future and end up growing it to a point to where you can live off of it. So, or just, have it as part of your, augment your income. Yeah, Ellie, the full range position and the range position, they're showing the same APR, but they're not earning the same. Um, I'm trying to figure out how to get the actual APR. And I'll let you know when I find that. Okay, yeah, Fade and TradFi. I'll star that. I'll looks like you're wanting to see some of those trackers and our our Discord that we're going to be doing with Discover Crypto, Blockchain Basement, BitLab Academy, and us. We're going to have a lot of these tools in there, and I'll share them with you all so that you can start using them to track your portfolios. But I started your comment, and I'll get to that at the end. Let's see what else we got. Okay, yeah, Uncle Tommy's interested in it as well. All right, so I'll end that part of I think I've stressed why you need to use DexScreener and those sorts of tools. All right, so back to DeFi Llama. So with DeFi Llama, this is just one of many things that you can look at. So when you're looking for liquidity pools, again, you're looking for TVL, and you want to go where the money's going, and you want to go where the volume is going. Because if people are on, say, Ethereum or on Base, and they're doing a bunch of swaps, and that's where all the volume is, then that is how you're going to earn money. So you want to find where the 24-hour DEX volume is. And so as you can see on here, you can see Ethereum is, of course, number one. Fade Ethereum all you want. I'm not an Ethereum bull in the slightest. I freaking hate Ethereum. I I and I'm not, I don't mean any offense to anybody that's a bull on Ethereum. I just don't see it having it's slow, it's expensive, gotten better, but I just see better chains out there. But you can't argue that is where DeFi is. The majority, it has 1,335 protocols on it. It eclipses Solana. It eclipses Binance Smart Chain, Bitcoin, Tron, Barachain, Base. It eclipses all of them. Active addresses, it's as far as volumes, DeFi TVL, it has 94 billion in TVL. The closest second is Solana with 17. Bridge TVL, $566 billion in that people have bridged over into Ethereum. Stable coins, 125 billion. 24-hour DEX volume, you have 1.7 billion. But if you look, Solana has 2.6 billion. So that tells you that right now Solana has a lot more DEX volume. So that might be something. If I was looking for a pool right now, I might go look at Solana DeFi, because that is where, if the volume's there, that's where the fees are going to be at. And fees equal yield. Yield is my profit. So that's why you need to use these tools. Don't use emotion. Don't see something on social media where everyone's talking about a certain project or a certain chain or a certain DEX or whatever and just FOMO into it. You need to look at facts, figures, logic, numbers. You know, keep emotion out of it. Um, and it's going to keep you honest, and it's going to ensure that you are putting your money to where it's going to work best for you, and you're not going to be the exit liquidity for somebody. Because if you're getting in these pools and say the token dumps, then potentially, you lost your money, and those that were already in it that were hyping it, just like a token, that were hyping it on social media saying, hey, this is the best pool to be in right now. And everybody floods into it and all the volume because everybody's swapping, because you need to have those assets to get in the pool. Then, of course, the fees are going to go up and spike. And then those people are just pulling their stuff out while everybody else is flooding in. It's the same thing as a single token, or a meme coin. So, you know, that's why I like sticking with blue chips, like I was talking about before. One of my rules, it's I look for high confidence assets. I don't chase APR. So, anyway, great tool. Categories. So, in DeFi, there is different categories. There's lending, there's bridges, there's liquid staking, there's DEXs or decentralized exchanges like Aerodrome, Uniswap, things like that. There's RWAs, all of that stuff. So again, facts, figures, logic. Lending right now is the place. That's where the combined TVL is 44 billion. It has the most TVL. It's gone up about 11% in the past month. Combined 24-hour revenue, about $223,000 that they've made. Protocols that allow users to borrow and lend assets. This is Aave. This is Morpho. The two types of DeFi that I'm currently doing is borrowing and lending and liquidity pools. So again, this is just another tool. And this is all on DeFi Llama. Definitely bookmark this. You can go through here on your own. You can scroll down here to the very bottom, and that correlation tool I was telling you about, I'll just show it to you real quick, is right here. And this shows you, remember I was talking about how, like, Bitcoin ETH, if you were in a Bitcoin ETH liquidity pool and you wanted to know how well they move together so you didn't get that divergence loss. I don't know if you remember me talking about that, but that's what this tool does. You hit that plus sign and you can add whatever asset you want. So like if I wanted to look at Plume, say I wanted to do a Plume and we'll say ETH. Actually, I already have ETH, but we'll put wrapped ETH. Say I wanted to do a Plume wrapped ETH pair. So Plume and wrapped ETH does not have a good correlation at all. So that's not a pool I would want to get into. Now, if a Plume USDT or USDC pool is doing better, me personally, my USDC Plume pool is fucking kicking ass. So, it's been doing good. And and of course you can decide, kind of decide for yourself, but like here, Bitcoin and BNB, very high correlation. 0.8. One is a perfect correlation. Of course, ETH and wrapped ETH have a perfect, one correlation. So the higher the correlation, the darker the green, and the higher number up to 1. So this is a great tool as well. And that's for a year. You can look at 1 month and you can see how much that changed things. Plume, again, a much better correlation against these different assets. Plume ETH over the past month, a 0.75. That's a great correlation. And you can go to 7 days. I don't look for 7 days. I want my pools to stay in range longer than that, but it's an option. So again, that's what this is, including. And then of course up here, you can pick, the basically the variables that are going into this calculation. So that's that tool. Another one, you can, pick protocols, top protocols, or compare protocols here on the left. And this is, Curve, Sky, Pendle, and Aave. And you can see Aave, the lending. Remember, we were just talking about lending. Aave has been skyrocketing, and then it leveled out. It dipped after 2025. So you can grab this down here if you want to look at a shorter time frame. You can drag this over, and it will show you. This is how well that these platforms are performing. As far as TVL volume, things like that. Again, just another tool to know how the money's moving. If you want to profit, you want to go where the money's at. That's the long and the short of it. All right. Before I move into DeFi aggregators, let's check questions. People are fading ETH way too much. I agree. Jay. Camino is a solid place for DeFi on Sol. I will check into that. Fade and TradFi. Let's see. Yeah, I don't do memes. About the only meme that I personally would consider is Coins Chicks meme, just because she is so active, and you can tell she genuinely cares about the project. Other than that, I can't really think of a whole lot of memes that I'd get into. USDC Sol is doing about 10 to 14% for 30 days. That's a great 30-day yield. That is a very respectable 30-day yield. I mean, you're looking at anywhere from 120 to what, 180 or 200, 180, yeah. 120 to 180 APR. That is a badass yield. Don't turn your nose up at double digit yields, or low triple digit yields. If it's good, steady, the marathon is going to win you the race. A good pace in a marathon is going to win the race. If you try sprinting in a marathon, you're going to get destroyed. So, have a long term mindset. I'm just going to keep stressing that. All right. So, no new questions. Let's see. So, this is the first one. Beefy, beefy.com. This is what's called a DeFi aggregator. It's, those of you that watch, the show here a lot, you've seen this one. VFAT, vfat.io. It's, in a nutshell, what this is. It goes out for you and saves you a lot of time. It goes out for you. And in this case, It goes out to Pendle, it goes out to Morpho, it goes out to um, let's see what all. Let's see where we at here. Do so it has all these different chains: Arbitrum, Avalanche, Base, Barachain, BNB, Chronos, Ethereum, Fractal, Gnosis, Linea, Lisk, Mantle, Metis, Mode, Moonbeam. So Sonic. All of these different chains, and then also let's see. It goes to a bunch of different protocols. So again, you got Morpho, you got Pendle, you got all these different platforms that they go and they grab these pools for you, and they bring them back here, and you can actually filter and find out which ones. Like, okay, I want to look at what has the best TVL, so I can filter. The best one, this B5 vault, has 6 million. And right now, the current APY is 9.96, which is great for a vault, for lending, and that sort of thing. 10% on not having to worry about, liquidity pool ranges or anything like that. Say that you have, let's click on it and see what it consists of. You can see, this tracks historically. It's gone as high as, at one point, it was at 25% APY. And then the lowest it's gone is right here. Let's see if I can capture it. It looks like about 5%. So, it's gone as low as 5%, but it was just a spike. But, on average, it's done about, I think that in this range, about 8% to about 18%. That is a beautiful return. So, like, if this one was, if you want to deposit, say you want to deposit USDC and you just wanted to earn on, on stables, this is where you could get that liquidity. And, depending on what the base asset is in here, then you would know, it's basically like a high interest savings account. That's the best way to look at lending is, and on platforms like Morpho, and when you get more advanced into DeFi, start out with lending just because it's safe. Other than the platform, because you want to make sure it's a trusted platform. If you go and you start lending on some obscure platform and they decide to go out of business, you lose your money. So, again, Aave, Morpho, things like that. But if you put your liquidity in there, then you're hodling that asset basically. You're going to get full price appreciation, even if it's sitting on there. If it's obviously if it's a stable coin, there's no price appreciation. But say you put your Bitcoin on there or your ETH on there, or some other asset, you're going to get the full price appreciation when the market moves. You get full exposure to that volatility. So you're earning yield. And if the market pumps, you're going to get that price appreciation plus the yield that you earn. So you're hodling plus you're earning. And I can't stress that enough. Why have an asset sitting on an exchange or sitting in a wallet that's not earning you money? That can earn you 5% to 18% or more. I don't understand why people are so scared of DeFi. Take a small portion. If you're just worried that the platform is going to go under or something, take a small portion. Make it a long term thing, and stick a little bit of it in there. And that way, you're going to learn DeFi because DeFi is here to stay. It's being integrated currently with TradFi, and it's going to be around and become seamless. Right now, it's kind of clunky to try to learn and get in and out of these positions, and learn how to connect and use the wallets, and learn how the different platforms operate, how they pay out. Aerodrome only pays out in Aero. Uniswap pays you out in the assets of the pool that you're in. They all kind of do their own thing. So it takes a while to learn this stuff, but early adopters profit the most. So again, Beefy is a great tool, for lending, and different, DeFi plays like that. So I'll move on from that. Here's another one. I've never used it, but D.Fi is a great place to explore to find again, you know, uh, you know, different pools and different places that you can put your liquidity. So you got borrowing and lending. Like right now, I'm looking at like top stablecoin opportunities. You got PYUSD and USDT. You can earn 31% on stable coins. I mean, PYUSD, I don't know how much faith I have in that, but USDT, USDC, absolutely. But PYUSD, I mean, I think, isn't that the PayPal token or something like that? Let me know, chat. Let me know if PYUSD is that that PayPal token. But again, on Uniswap, you can make 31%. Show me any savings account anywhere that you're like at a bank or anything that you're going to make 31% profit off of just storing a stable coin. You don't got to worry if the market's pumping. You don't got to worry if the market's dumping. This is just straight up mailbox money. So, me personally, this is the kind of stuff while I'm pulling profits, when the markets start pumping and I feel like we're in alt season and I start, yanking my liquidity and my profits out of, DeFi, the yield that I'm earning, and I start my ladder out plan on how I'm going to start selling my altcoins and stuff, leading into the top of the market and the bear market. Going to be laddering out. As I'm taking that out, I'm going to be putting it in stable coins and Bitcoin. And when I'm putting it in stable coins, a good portion of that is going to be spread on different platforms like Morpho and Aave and places like that so that I can keep earning, because my goal is to have at least $300,000 in stables and Bitcoin. I want to get $500,000, but $300,000 is going to be in DeFi. And that's going to be majority, like 90% is going to be in stable coins and Bitcoin. And I want to be earning an at least enough to where I'm making about 5 to 10% a month. If I can make 5 to 10% a month on $300,000, then I'm making about $30,000. If I'm making 10%, I'm making about $30,000 a month, which is huge. That's massive. If I make even a fraction of that, hold on, am I doing that right? Just shy of 30,000. Yeah, just shy of $30,000. If I'm doing my math right, call me out if my math is off. Sorry, I've been driving for a couple of days, so my head's not fully on right now. But that is a lot of freaking money. And even if I could just earn a fraction of that, even if I could make $3,000 a month off that $300,000, then that is that's a second job that I don't have to go to. I mean, $3,000 a month can make a really nice car payment, pay all your groceries and your utilities. It can make a mortgage payment. That's basically other people paying off your house. And it all starts with making $10 a day, and then $20 a day, and then $40 a day. A lot of the channels that I learned DeFi from, they're talking about millions of dollars. They're talking, that this, you know, these huge profits that they're making. And to be honest, it's not realistic for the average person. And because those people are well down the road, they've been in this for years, maybe multiple cycles. You need to think about starting small and building out that foundation of your portfolio. Like I said, get to where you're making $10 a day and then turn that into 20 and then turn that into 40 and then turn that into 80. And the next thing you're making a couple of $100 a day, which might not seem like a lot. But then, you look at it over a month, if you're making $100 a day, then you're making $3,000 a month. That I mean, and then you start thinking, okay, well, now if I start making $200 a day, you're able to double that because you're taking that yield and rolling it back into other, other pools or adding it to high performing pools that you're in. It just snowballs. And I mean, I swear that you'll blink. I've only been doing this for about 7 months now, and I have more than doubled my DeFi portfolio as far as token count. So even with the dumping markets, my DeFi portfolio is worth more than I started with. I have just over $20,000 in my DeFi portfolio, and I started with like 12. So I mean, it's it just it goes to show you. Um, and of course, I've taken some profits and went on trips and stuff like that. So that that's why my DeFi portfolio isn't as big as it could be. But total, um, I'm well up. So let's move on to VFAT because this is the one that I use the most. Yes, Ellie, flight school class ends tomorrow. Yes, Wednesday evenings is when the epoch ends. So make sure, and it's not just the flight school. Flight school is just the bonus, but the epoch ends, and so the aerodrome locks pay out tomorrow night. All right, Jay, thanks. I appreciate that. PayPal. That's what I thought it was. Ellie, appreciate it. All right, cool. So let's get back at it. Where were we? All right. So we are on VFAT. So VFAT is another DeFi aggregator, but this one is for liquidity pools. And this is the one, obviously, that I personally use. And you can see what it does is it connects to your wallet and it can detect what liquidity pools you have out there. So in this case, it can see my full range AMM that I'm in on Aerodrome, USDC Aero. This is what I keep preaching with where we're at in the markets. You know, I'm not the only one that feels this way. I feel like the market is about as beat down as it's going to get. I see up from here personally. We're all going to have different opinions. I see up from here. So the reason that I am in lending again is if the price pumps, those assets get full price appreciation. If I'm in lending for Bitcoin and Bitcoin goes to 106,000 or 200,000 or 300,000, my Bitcoin is going to get all of that price appreciation. No dilution whatsoever. Now, these AMMs, I'm not going to get full price appreciation because as price pumps, and in this case, USDC and Arrow, as the Arrow price pumps, it's going to slowly DCA me out of Arrow into USDC. So it keeps an even amount of each of those assets. Because again, you're providing liquidity for people to do swaps between those two assets. So it wants to keep that pool balanced. But I'm still going to get a good portion of price appreciation. Plus, I'm always earning yield. So in a potentially bullish market, I'm in lending and I'm in full range positions. The majority of my portfolio, as you can see on the screen, this one right here is a USDC Arrow pool. It's in the same pool, but I'm actually holding that here on VFAT so that I have this added functionality that I can, peel off these profits in whatever asset I want. So, yeah, I'll get into that real quick. So say that I wanted to take the profits that I have in this pool. I can't do that up here. Up top, I have to go to Aerodrome unless I migrate it over. If I migrate this pool over, I can do it. But this one, as it sits right now, if I want to pull this $34, I have to go onto Aerodrome and pull that, those profits off there. And I can only pull them off in Arrow. I can't pull them off in any other token. Here on VFAT, same pool, just not on Aerodrome. It's on VFAT. I have all of this functionality. So if I want to add liquidity to this, it's connected to my wallet. and it will show you. I got this U-Link. I got $34.78 of that. I got some wrapped ETH. I got a little bit of mainnet ETH. I have some dust in my wallet. And any of this, I can add to this Arrow USDC pool. And if you've gone on to Arrow or Aerodrome, you know that if you want to enter a pool, you have to have a certain amount, in this case, of USDC and Arrow to be able to enter that pool, or you can't enter it. You have to sell off something to, so that you can get those, those assets. Here, you don't have to do that. VFAT is such an awesome tool. So basically, I can put any crypto that's in my wallet, that value, that dollar value, into this liquidity pool to plus it up. So that's one thing, is I can increase. I can withdraw, of course. I can withdraw, the liquidity, the $1,667. I can close out that position if I want, and and take those profits as well. Compound, if I want to loop that $12.87 that I've earned back into this pool, I can just basically compound that back in. And just so I'm always growing, that deposit amount, and just it earns more and more and more and more because I'm providing more liquidity. And then of course I can harvest. So without closing the position out, and this is something you can do on Aerodrome as well, is you can just take profits. You can peel this out in whatever asset you want. Again, I can take these profits in Arrow, I can take it in, Link, I can take it in USDC, I can take it in Bitcoin, I can, the list goes on. There's just a whole freaking laundry list of tokens. If you want to start building a position in something, like say Spectra, I'm bullish on Spectra and I don't own any. And so I want to start building a bag of it. I can just always start taking my profits in Spectra and start building a bag of that. And when I take it, it's going to go directly into my wallet. And so I'm basically just building a bag of that asset. So that's why I like VFAT so much. And of course it tracks as well. This is my total deposits that I have on here. This is how much that I've earned so far. This is how much I'm earning per day. And you can do drop downs and look at, okay, $2.49 a day doesn't sound like a lot, but I go to monthly. It's an extra $75 a day, a month. APR. I'm making an average of about 18% APR. That's not right. Oh, a month. Sorry. No, that is APR. That's not right. Obviously. So anyway, again, great tool, something I highly suggest that, people look into. All right. So I'll go over my pools a little bit, and then I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive into Arrow. Those of you that are still with me, let's actually look and see if there's any questions. Yeah, trade Fade and Tradify, bfat.io it's again a great tool. Do your own research, but I've used it since I started in DeFi, and it's a great tool. Um, VFAT or Beefy. Oh yeah, bfat.io, Brandon, and Beefy. It's just beefy.com is the other one that I was telling you about. And one is mostly for like lending. Those Beefy's more for like lending and things like that. And a VFAT is more for liquidity pools, mostly on Uniswap, Velodrome, Aerodrome, the major platforms. ETA, VSM, an AMM is an automated market maker. So it's basically a liquidity pool. Long story short, it's just another name for a liquidity pool. That you can put liquidity into, based on the assets and earn yield. So that's basically all it is. And don't be sorry, man. We're all at different stages of learning, and so don't feel like in the military. No question is a stupid, question. The only stupid question is the question unasked. So do not feel stupid. I've got Beefy and VFAT in your notebook. Perfect, perfect. Where can I find the fees within VFAT? Twinkle Bell. All right, I'll show you that real quick. Our this one in this Sonic USDC pool that I have on the Sonic chain, I've earned $24.85. And this USDC Arrow, so far, I've earned $12.89 because I just took profits on these the other day. So that's basically your fees, that you've earned. And so, you know, again, that's the great thing about this tool is it tracks all this stuff. All right. So back to here. So Uniswap, I'll just touch on this. So finding pools on Uniswap is pretty basic. Go to Explore, go to Pools. It pulls all of them up. Right now, this is a great promotion they have going on. They're promoting the Uni chain. So, their native chain that Uniswap came out with. So all of these pools that you see this additional bonus on are all liquidity pools that are on their chain. And so you can see that here's the one that I'm in, USDC wrapped Bitcoin. I'm earning 30%. That's being paid out in USDC because again, Uniswap, the way that they pay out is in the assets that you're providing. So I'm getting paid out in USDC and wrapped Bitcoin. I'm also earning a bonus APR of 31% currently. It's been a lot higher, but currently of 31% that's being paid out in the Uni token. So a total of 61.5% APR is what I'm earning right now on USDC and Bitcoin. That is awesome. And I just opened this not too long ago. And so I've earned 1.5 Uni tokens, and which is I think is around like $7 or $8 or something like that. And I've earned, let's open this up, and I've earned about $1.50 in USDC and about $1.50 in wrapped Bitcoin. Again, I just opened this position. So it doesn't seem like a lot, but I don't have a lot in the position. I only got $1,200, maybe $1,300 in the position. But as Bitcoin pumps, if Bitcoin doubles, this is going to double. So I'll have $2,400. So I'm getting full price appreciation. I'm hodling Bitcoin. I'm going to get full price appreciation. Plus, I'm earning yield, and the yield is being paid out in more Bitcoin and more USDC. So, of course, the USDC, isn't going to pump because it's a stable coin. But the yield that I earned in Bitcoin and the yield that I earned in Uni is going to pump with the market. Again, sorry. You want to keep exposure to the market, and price appreciation, all the while earning yield. I'm going to keep stressing this, and you need to keep these things in mind when you're getting into DeFi, because you don't want to miss out if the market goes parabolic. We're if historically, if it does what it's done, there's going to be a point where a lot of these altcoins and things take off, and you don't want to miss that train. And then as it's pumping, you want to be peeling, those profits out. You want to be taking profits. So, all right. So anyway, back to pools. So again, you can filter, if you want to look by TVL, like I said, you want the higher the TVL, the better. The volumes, 1 day volume, again, this pool that I'm in, USDC wrapped Bitcoin, TVL 40 million, 1 day volume 11 million. Great pool. And then, here, they even know Uniswap have been doing this long enough. 1 day volume, compared to TVL. The closer that you can get to one or higher, the better. Because if you look, the TVL here is 40 million. The 1 day volume is more than 40. It's 52 million. So it's 1.3. It's, like if you play video games, the kill to death ratio, same thing. You have more daily volume than you do TVL. And when I was going over the rules, that's what you want, equal to or greater than. If you're bullish on, whatever these stables are, I've never seen these before. USD screw zero or whatever the fuck that is. Um, this ETH USDC, freaking phenomenal volume compared to TVL. Three. There's a lot of fees. This could be a good one to get in right now. Again, high TVL, high fees, good APR, fucking dialed in. And I'm not saying ape into this, but do your own research. These are the things that I look for when I'm looking for a good liquidity pool. TVL, volume, then APR. Not APR, then FOMO. Good TVL, good volume, then look at the APR. And it's just a bonus if it's a stellar APR. All right, next. We'll be wrapping up here in a bit, and I'll get to those questions. So make sure you're getting those questions in, and please like and share the stream. Let's get the word out on DeFi. I really need people to understand this. Those of you that know me know I'm very passionate about DeFi because I see the potential, and I know there's people out there that are struggling right now to pay the bills and buy groceries and things like that. They don't have a lot of expendable income. This is a vehicle to, and I can't stress it enough, to where, if you have a little bit of money sitting in the bank, potentially, and I'm not saying do this, potentially, you can start putting little bits of money aside into lending and things like that to where you can earn just little bits of money to take some of that pressure off. Because again, I know people are hurting right now. And it's important that people, know that these tools are out there to help you. So again, please like and share the stream. Let's get the word out. Aerodrome, same thing. Here's all the pools. You have all the different filters. You got basic. So basic is usually means that it's a full range position. Um, you know, so if you want, again, like this is the one that I'm in and I'm earning 40% on. It's just USDC Arrow. This is where you don't need to worry about ranges. You're going to get the majority of the price appreciation. All of that jazz. One thing about Aerodrome, like Ellie said, on Wednesday when the epoch ends, these APRs reset, and so yeah, I mean, you just got to deal with that. So Wednesday on Aerodrome isn't a good day to go shopping. You want to wait till Thursday, Friday before you start, entering any pools on here. On VFAT, you'll get a better feel for what the APRs are. And then concentrated liquidity. When you concentrate liquidity, it means it's a ranged position. You're concentrating your liquidity in a price range. Like for me on Plume, 15 cents to 25 cents. Concentrated liquidity. Wrapped ETH USDC, you can see right now is making 306%. Good volume, good amount of fees, $308,000 worth of fees, and good TVL. So, not much to say about this. You can look at incentivized pools. You can look at low. I don't know why you'd want to, but low TVL pools. Things like that. You know, virtual wrapped ETH right now. More than 9,000% APR. This one is actually for a while been like that. It has great TVL. 1.6 million, and volume is 46 million. Virtuals has been a great asset. It's an AI play, and a lot of the AI bots are built on virtuals. So, again, this is a play that, if you want to, dabble in this project, it's a way that you can earn some yield off that. And again, I don't look at this APR. I come over here to the three dots. I look at the pool address. I copy that, and I'll go over here to VFAT and go to pools and paste. All right, then we'll do this. We'll type in virtuals or virtual, And you can see here it is, virtual wrapped ETH on Aerodrome. So I can click on it and you can see the past 7-day fees. Here's the APR. See, 109%. So that one that says 9,000%, this is the a more realistic APR. So again, I'm a huge fan of VFAT, but do your own research. So I think we covered about everything here. Of course, the locks. Here, I'll connect my wallet real quick so we can show you this. So I know Ellie is in this. I'm in this. Mr. Mark is in this. And you can see my locks. This one, initially, I deposited 5,100 Aero. And that was about 6-7 months ago, back in November. And I locked for 4 years because I did more than 2,500 Aero in a lock, in a single lock. I got this, which is the flight school bonus. And when I got this, it was 2,600 Aero. So I have earned about a little over 2,000, about 2,200 Aero, free Aero from having these locks. And I put it into this VE Aero Maxi. So let me pull up. I want to pull this up. So I know some people are visual. Bear with me for a minute. Where's that at? Uniswap data. There we go. VE rewards program. All right. So for these locks, I have a lot of people asking me about these and asking me the details about them. There again, you have to put at least 2,500. Here it is, right here. There are several ways to increase your share of the bonus pool. The following boosts apply to VE Aero locks and their weighted value, not the bonus itself. For example, you have to lock at least 25 Aero into a lock, and then you get the flight school bonus. So it's right now. What is the payout? It's usually around 30 or 40% of whatever you lock if you max lock for 4 years. But you can boost that if you deposit, like once you make the lock. If you go to here, create a lock, and once you have that 2,500 or more in there, then you deposit that lock like I did into this VE Aero Maxi. It has to be a Maxi relay. Then you get a 1.25x boost on the compounded amount. So it usually takes about a month. It can take up to a month to get the bonus, but you will get it. And then it also earns weekly compounding yield. And I want to stress this. So I started with 5,100 tokens and I got 2,600 in a separate, locked for 4 years is just like the initial one. And I'm earning yield on both of them. And it's compounding. If you don't understand compounding, do your research. But what that means is I started out to where I was earning about, 80-ish Aero per week. I'm now earning over 100 per week because every time that little bit is added, it is added to my lock. So instead of earning on 2,600 Aero, I'm now earning off of 3,300 Aero. And instead of earning off of 5,100 Aero, I'm earning off of 6,568 Arrow. So it just keeps earning more and more and more and more. And that increases weekly to the extent that 5,100 Arrow, by the time these unlock for me, I'm going to have around 75,000 Arrow. And do the math, whatever price point, you think the token's going to get to. I mean, it's already gotten to over $2, and so, at $2, 7,500 is what, 150, at $2, I'd have $150,000 off of, at the time, a 20, what was it? Yeah, $2,500 deposit, is when I made the deposit, it was worth $2,500 because it was around 50 cents on Arrow. So for a $2,500 investment, even at $2, which we've already gone over, I make $150,000. Now, if it goes to $10, that's $750,000. If it goes to $30, I'm going to have like 1.4 million or some trash, or more. So it all depends on how bullish you are on Arrow. And, I'm not saying ape into this, but this is something I have a strong conviction about Arrow. And so again, I put 2,500 bucks into it. I'm either going to lose 2,500 bucks or I'm going to have some life-changing fucking money just off of this lock. Not any other crypto move that I've done. Just this lock off of 2,500 bucks. Potentially, again, I could easily make $750,000 just for being patient. This is what I'm talking about with DeFi. It is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Do some short-term plays, absolutely. Take some risks. Scratch that itch. Play a meme coin if you want, but build out long term. If you are really looking to change your life, don't chase the lottery. Don't chase meme coins. For every one person that gets rich, there's thousands that lost everything. There's only so much liquidity to go around. Not everybody that gets into a meme coin gets rich. Somebody lost for somebody to gain. With this, nobody really loses. People are paying fees to trade. People are paying fees to swap. People are paying fees to earn. They're out there, they're earning too. It's you're the bank. You are, in a way, you're helping people to, to change their life, in the way that they're learning. So that's the important thing to keep in mind is you're the bank here. You're the one that's helping other people for a price, of course, to accomplish their goals. I just see this as less predatory. Personally, I feel a lot better about DeFi than I do about a lot of other aspects of trading, and not to say that it's a bad thing. It's just me personally, this is more my wheelhouse. I understand it more. The numbers make more sense. I'm not guessing if the market's going to go up or down. I'm not chasing a meme coin, hoping that, using emotion, hoping it's going to go up. I am doing my research on these assets. I'm doing my research on these pools. I'm depositing my liquidity. I'm monitoring, I'm tracking, and I'll get to that, my tracking sheets. I'm tracking and I'm ensuring that I'm staying profitable. And if I'm not, I'll know because I'm tracking it. And if for whatever reason I feel like that I need to, extract that liquidity and move on to another project or another pool, then I'll do that. So anyway, I kind of went on a little bit of rabbit trail there, but it's important to understand the gears and the mechanisms behind DeFi because it'll give you a better understanding of how to invest. All right, so some of the facts and figures that I use. This is called Dune Analytics. A bunch of really smart people. There's a bunch of different uh, analytics boards, and not just for crypto and not just for DeFi that people build out on Dune. But you can go on here and you can find these. And basically what this is this one here is the Aerodrome relay yield. So again, the relays are like the VE Aero Maxi that I deposited my lock into. What that does is instead of having to go on Aerodrome every week and vote so that I get my weekly yield that that compounds, I put it in that BE Aero Maxi. I'm not giving them my arrow. I'm giving them permission to vote on my behalf on where the Aerodrome fees should go, as far as the pools. And what that does is, wherever those fees are funneled, those are the pools that are going to pay the most. So I've automated that process, so it's just one less thing that I have to do. But this shows all the analytics on those relays. So you can see the arrow price, the arrow yield, adjusted by price, the earnings per token. About 88 cents per token is the estimate. And you can look at the relay TVL. There's 10 million, and these things are important because you want to see that these are growing. You want to see an ecosystem that it has an upward trajectory, or at least flat. If you see that it's shrinking, then it potentially, if overall, if the rest of the market or the rest of the platforms are going up or trending sideways and the one that you're on is going down, that might be a red flag that you might want to get your liquidity off of that, off that platform or out of that pool. So, it's important to look at these numbers to know that the amount of liquidity in a pool is going up, or in the amount of fees being earned is going up, because again, that's how you stay profitable. So this is just a bunch of really good analytics. Here's the TVL for the relays recently. You can see, over the past couple of months since January, this is where we were pumping, and then we dumped, and then now we're on our way back up. People are getting back into the relays. Uh, Again, you have over here, you have the amount of arrow that's in the relay. This is the TVL, and this is the amount of the tokens that are in the relay. So you can see, even though that we dumped, you can see that we're still growing. Aerodrome and the amount of people that are using this, these relays on Aerodrome with their locks is growing. It's a growing ecosystem. It's important to know that, for a healthy ecosystem, you want it to be growing. Let me check on questions. I haven't looked in a minute. Yes, please smash the like. Thank you, KJam. Good to see you, brother. If you're if I'm, I appreciate your guys' feedback, both positive and negative. I know that I can get kind of long winded sometimes, but I want to make sure. And I was an instructor in the military, and so, and I don't mean any offense to anybody. This is just a term that's used in the military. I try to talk to the dumbest son of a bitch in the room. So I don't like using big terms. I don't like getting too complicated. I try to break things down as simply as I can and use visual aids to help people understand, because sometimes I'm the dumbest son of a bitch in the room and I need somebody to break it down for me, because some of this stuff is complicated. So please, um, you know, help people, make sure you're asking questions, show people the channel, whatever we can do to help people out. I leave If I leave chat, my question disappears from the stream. Oh, yeah, I can't do anything about that. Yeah, definitely follow us on Rumble. I'm trying to grow that channel because we don't get shadow banned if I say fuck and things like that. Um, TVI volume and APR. Yep, exactly, Stan. Do your own research. Is there a reason you're not upgrading your VFAT? Yes, actually, I want to do my research on that. I've been in Yellowstone, so I haven't had the time. I want to make sure it's not malicious. I want to make sure that somebody didn't, you know, uh, do something to where there's a pop up, on there, and I click on it, and it upgrades my VFAT and gives them access to my accounts or something. I want to make sure that VFAT is actually, did an upgrade. So good, awesome question, Wispy. Awesome question. 2,500 per lock. I made the mistake of doing multiple deposits. I didn't want to call you out, Ellie, but yes, yeah, we've all been there. This whole time I was thinking people were getting a pilot's license. Yeah, yeah, it's just along with the theme, Aerodrome theme. Let's see. Arrow ain't. Yeah, I don't think Jay. Yeah, I don't think Aerodrome's going anywhere either, and that's my personal opinion. I just think that there's just too much, too many people behind it for it to go anywhere, and that's why I did the locks, and I might do more locks because I'll be honest, I have about a little over 20,000 arrow now. In my full range pools, sitting off to the side and in locks. And so if I start earning enough, um, and I see that arrows do it, still going strong towards the end of this bull market, I might lock up some more. Fuck it. Yeah, no, this is definitely low risk compared to futures trading. Um, yeah, yep. KJam. I will definitely show my tracker sheets after this. I actually need to update them. I haven't updated them while I've been on vacation. Let's see. Love seeing all the questions in here. I really just want to make sure that I get to all these questions. I'm sorry for the dead air. I just want to make sure that I'm respecting everybody that takes the time to come here and ask questions. Yeah, try not to use a hot wallet browser plugins on your web browsers. Those browser extensions get attacked. I hold Arrow, David Middleton. I hold Arrow, but I will say if you pull up the all-time chart, it does nothing but go lower. Uh, that's not necessarily the case. I'll actually pull it up real quick. Let's see. Actually, here, let's just do this. So you go to the all-time chart, and you can see, I mean, it was down here 2-3 cent range. It pumped initially, came down, tested, at the 42 cents. Pumped up, came back down, to around the 50 cent range, and then it did its huge pump up to $2.20. Everything took a dump. I mean, I had in my overall portfolio, I'm fully transparent about what I have in crypto. I had over $100,000 in my total portfolio, not just DeFi, but my total portfolio. I had over $100,000. Right now, I have about 55,000 because of DeFi. I would have less if it wasn't for DeFi. I've just earned so much. Um, but everything took a dump, Bitcoin included. But alts, took it on the nose a lot harder, and they all dumped. And since then, yeah, Aerodrome's been bouncing around below a dollar for a while. But if you believe in Arrow and you see the platform, and again, you see the volumes, you see the fees being earned, the fact that they're locking that the platform Aerodrome, they're minting more tokens, but they are locking up. They pay those minted tokens out to the VE Arrow holders that are in the locks. Anything that they don't pay out in fees, they max lock for 4 years. Every epoch, they're doing this, and they're always locking more than that are in circulation, that are going out. So it's deflationary. They're constantly locking up Arrow to make Arrow deflationary. So if you're able to understand that, and again, I don't mean that as an insult. If you're able to wrap your head around those terms that I used, that means that potentially that Arrow there's less and less tokens on the market for people to buy. And so the price, when it goes up, is going to, each token is going to be more valuable, as long as there's a demand for the token, which I personally think there is. So it's not just the only one that's down. They're all down right now. So don't get in a mindset of, following just price. You have to look at the fundamentals of a token, and you have to look at what they're building out. Because again, Bitcoin, it back in the day when it was below $1, I laughed at it. My buddy told me about it. And I've told this story before. Is he's like, hey, let's put a couple $100 in this Bitcoin thing, and let's see what happens. And it was 2011. I had just gotten back off of one of my deployments. He's like, hey, let's put a couple $100 in this Bitcoin thing. And I'm like, it's for dorks in their mom's basement. It's like Pokemon cards, and they're just trading this imaginary token to each other. And I laughed, and he did it, and he made $500,000 off a couple $100. So he was the one laughing at me. So there are going to be tokens and projects that go away, and Arrow might be one of those. However, I personally don't feel that way, and many people don't feel that way. And Coinbase doesn't feel that way because they're one of the ones, many that are supporting it. MetaMask and Phantom okay to use. I'll let K. Yeah, it looks like you're asking KJam. I'll let KJam answer that. All right. So back to where we were. Let's see. So yeah, analytics. I love data. I do not get emotional in my investing at all. If I feel myself getting emotional, I'll step away from the laptop. I'll step away from trading, whatever it is. I do not allow myself to be emotional if before I click a button. Um, so that's just me. I'm all about facts and numbers. So back to where I was at was actually here. So the lock, that's just one way to boost it. Is to put it into that VE Arrow Maxi relay, and that specific one. And so you'll get a bonus for that, a 1.25 bonus. You can also, instead get a 1.3x boost if you have Coinbase One. You have to go onto Coinbase, and you have to go through a process to link your Coinbase One account to your Coinbase wallet so that Aerodrome, registers that, and you'll get that bonus instead of the 1.25 bonus. So you'll get a little bit more of a bonus. This one's super easy. This one's a little more involved. Up to you what you want to do. So that's pretty much the long and the short. But again, this is the analytics. And look, this is the distributions that they've been paying out, the VE Arrow distribution. So this is what they're paying out to those of us in locks. It just keeps going up. They're just paying more and more and more. Here's the historical flight school VE Arrow distributions. So when they first came out, they were paying out huge flight school bonuses. It's leveled out down here now. So again, this is just analytics. If you're into that kind of thing, that shows, the growth of the project and, in the different aspects of the project. This dashboard here is the projected voting APRs. So this is what I was talking about. If you're a VE Arrow holder, the more VE Arrow you hold, or voting arrow that you hold in a lock, gives you a certain amount of voting power. When you put it in that relay, you are giving them permission to vote for you. So, as you can see here, this is what people are. All right, there we go. So you can see the amount of votes. Let's see if we can filter it. Yeah. So you can see the top pool as far as the number of votes is USDC Arrow. And if you remember, when we looked at it before, It was the top performing pool in fees paid out. And this is why. This is key when you're providing liquidity on Aerodrome or in a liquidity pool on VFAT that is an Aerodrome pool. You need to know where the votes are going because that is where the fees are going. And so on this one, USDC Aero has 71 million votes for this epoch, that ends tomorrow, like Ellie said. So for this coming, this is where you might want to look at putting some liquidity. That's the last 7 days. And then there's another one I'll show you that is showing the votes for the coming epoch. So right now, the fees per 100,000 votes, $245. And you can just scroll over and it'll give you all kinds of nerdy stuff. I won't get too deep into that. Now, this one here. This is where you come to find the coming epoch. So let's go over to Aerodrome. Let's scroll down. There's the distribution, protocol revenue, pools. There we go. So number of votes. So you can see, here's the percentages. So let's filter it by percentage of votes. So it looks like, oh, no, sorry. Let's go to here. All right. So let's actually do this. Let's use my, let's see. Let's use my USDC Aero pool as the gauge. Where's that damn pool address? There it is. All right. So let's go here. And down here, I'll paste in that pool address for USDC Aero. All right. And this is what I was talking about when you want to see positive growth in a pool. So you can see the percentage of votes. It like this on these are the epochs over here. So this is each week. So this is this past week or this coming week. This is this week. The week before that, week before that, week before that, all the way down. So you can see that down here a couple weeks ago we had just shy of 8%, 8.58, 8.51. It went down. 8.51 stayed steady. 8.44 went down. 8.53 went back up. 8.57 went back up. So you can see that there's a positive growth in the amount of votes for the amount of fees that go to VE holders, that from VE holders to pay into this pool, because we're voting on where we want to incentivize people to put liquidity. So the amount of votes, the amount of fees, you can see that the amount of fees here on this epoch, sorry, got a scratchy nose, there was only 50,000 of fees paid out. That was when the markets were super flat, super boring, not a lot of volume. Went up to almost 70,000. Then it jumped up to 163,000 in fees, 162, 119, 158. You can see that it's growing. It's volatile because the way the markets are right now, but it gives you an idea of the profitability of the pool and how well it's going to pay you in yield. These are all the things that you need to start learning to be able to find good producing yield bearing pools that that are going to make you money because of impermanent loss. If you're in a pool like USDC Aero and Aero is pumping, you're not getting the full price appreciation. You want to make sure that the yield is making up for that. so that you stay profitable. Because otherwise, you just might as well hodl the asset. You want to make sure that that the price appreciation that you're getting plus the yield outpaces hodling. That's probably the best way that I can put it. So, all right. Then of course you got Aave. So I'll go ahead and put a pin in because I mean I've already gone quite some time. So I'll put a pin in liquidity pools and let's get into lending. Aave is by far the biggest and best place to do lending and borrowing. You're not going to earn huge yields right now. Supply APY, right now in USDC, you're looking at earning like 3.31%. Here coming up, I'm going to be doing some advanced strategies that, and you'll understand a little better why that's actually not that big of a deal. And in a nutshell, say that I'm going to be peeling my profits out as the market pumps into stables and Bitcoin. This is one of the plays I'm going to do. So say that I have $100,000 in USDC and I want to earn 3.31%. Not a lot. I can put it on Coinbase and earn more than that. However, to borrow on these platforms, you have to provide liquidity or leverage. They're leveraged loans. So if I deposit $100,000, I'm earning 3.31%. As you can see, to borrow, it's almost 5%. So there's a difference of roughly 1.7%. So if you take all that into account, I'm actually only paying 1.7% interest on a loan. And if any of you have taken a loan out, there is fucking nowhere right now that you're getting a 1.7% interest rate on fucking any loan. So that in and of itself is awesome. Now I click on it and I'll get some more detailed information. So the max loan to value, remember, I said I deposited $100,000. That means if I want to take out max leverage, and on a stable coin, it's not as important. It's not something you want to do on a volatile asset like an altcoin or Bitcoin. But on stables, you can take out a good amount. Just I wouldn't take out max. But say I want to take out $50,000 for a good round number. The max I can take out $75,000 on 100,000 because that's 75% of $100,000. That's the loan to value. The liquidation threshold, though, is at 78%. So if say USDC depegs, and it goes down to 78 cents, it depegs down to 78 cents. My position will get liquidated. I'll lose my $100,000. That's the collateral that I was using for the loan. It's important to understand these things. So that's why I'm, you have to be really careful when borrowing. Lending, you're fine. None of this applies to lending. Lending, you're just lending. No problem. This has to do with borrowing. So that tells you how much you can take. Now, I'm not going to get into the lending strategy or the lending borrowing flywheel, but in a nutshell, again, you're basically end up taking out a loan for 1.7%. That 50,000 that I take out in a loan, in summary of the flywheel, I can take that 50,000 and now I can go put that in a liquidity pool that's earning 40, 50, 60% or more and earning that yields. So say I'm earning 50%. I'm only paying 1.7% interest for that $50,000. If you remember, because of this, the USDC here. I'm only paying 1.7% to borrow that $50,000. Now, if I go and make 50% on that $50,000, I just subtract that 1.7% and I'm making what? 48.3. I'm making 48.3% on free money, on borrowed money. So I eliminated all the negative aspects of borrowing because as long as I'm earning more than 1.7% on that borrowed money, I'm profiting. I still own all that $100,000 of USDC that I'm lending. I still own that. It's just locked because it's collateral for that 50,000. Now, say that you see that USDC is depegging. If I'm in a liquidity pool, I can pull that $50,000 out and repay the loan, or I can use the yield that I'm earning on that $50,000 and pay down the loan. Take chunks out of that 50,000. Like, if I make $1,000 in a month, I can pay off $1,000 of it and just constantly pay it down. And so basically the health of that loan will will increase, and mitigate the chances of me getting liquidated. I hope this is making sense. I really do. Let me check the questions. Do, do, do. Let's see. If we okay, Jammy. If we lock today, could we get the airdrop tomorrow? The airdrop isn't tomorrow. The flight school bonus. The flight school bonus, and Ellie might know because she did it more recently. The flight school bonus is monthly, and it seems like it moves around. But um, now, if you do a lock, you'll start getting the compounding yield every week, but you might not get the flight school bonus. It will just show up in your wallet, but you might not get the flight school bonus for up to a month. I mean, it might be tomorrow, it might be a week, it might be 2 weeks, but within 30 days, you'll get that flight school bonus. And again, you'll want to put that in a relay and get it, auto compounding as well. I hope that answers your question, Jamie. Um, fiat or fiat or fiat for crypto. Crypto has no top as fiat has no bottom. Yeah, no, that's legit. All right, Twinkle Bell. Sorry, I'm lost on the borrowing thing. Um, you'll have to tell me what you're lost on. I'll do a quick run through really fast because I don't want to belabor the issue. So where was I? There it is. Oh, hold on. Looks like a question popped up. There we go. Ave. All right. So I'm just going to go through this fast because maybe I was just talking too much and so it got confusing. So USDC. I have $100,000 of USDC. I want to supply or lend that $100,000. I deposit it. I connect my wallet. I deposit that liquidity in USDC, and I start earning 3.31%. Done and done. APR, I'm earning 3.31% per year. Now, because I can take that 100,000 out whenever I want because I haven't borrowed anything, but I'm just earning a steady 3.3, and this fluctuates. I mean, it goes up. I've seen it much higher. Now, say that I want to start doing some advanced strategies, or I just want to borrow because I don't, you don't pay taxes. So I've been told. Um, talk to your tax professional. You don't pay taxes on loans, on debt. So I take a loan out of $50,000 against that $100,000. The difference between 3.3% that I'm earning, for borrowing, or yeah, for lending, the difference between what I'm paying to borrow and what I'm earning to lend is about 1.7. Because you take away 3.3 from about 5 and you get about 1.7. So instead of paying 5%, because I'm lending, I'm only, this cancels out 3.3% of this. So I'm only paying 1.7% to borrow money. And again, that is minuscule compared to what people are paying now. So again, I can take that 50,000 I was talking about before and say I go over here to Uniswap and say that, or actually say I do this. Say I deposit it into Plume, where I'm earning 150%. I just subtract 1.7%. So instead of making 150.7, I'll be making 149%. I hope that makes sense. Basically, I deposited the 100,000. I'm earning that 3.3% or 3.5 or whatever it was. I borrowed 50,000 and I'm paying about 5% to borrow that. The difference is, after the what I'm earning and what I'm paying out in interest, 1.7%. And I put that 50,000 in one of these pools. Now, off of $50,000, I'm earning 149%. So, say for just a good round number, say I'm making 100% off of $50,000. So, what would that be? That'd be $50,000 a year that I'm making. Divide that by 12. Like I said, my brain's a little fried. So, $50,000 divided by 12. I'm making $4,166 per month on putting, like right now, if you had $50,000 in this, making this, you'd be making $4,166 in profit. You'd still have the $50,000 in there, but in profit. So I could take that $4,166 every month if I wanted to. I could take that back over here to Aave and I could start paying off that $50,000. And so in a year, I could pay off that entire loan just off of what I made off of that pool. And then that $50,000 is just free money. So I basically hodled $100,000 worth of USDC and made a free $50,000. I hope that makes sense. So it's a way to leverage your long term holdings to to basically borrow free money to earn more free money. They call it a flywheel. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. I think that is about it because I mean I've talked y'all's ear off, and I appreciate you hanging in there because yeah, this has been a marathon stream. Later, KJM. Yes, 100%, Stan. That's exactly what it is. So the smart contract is that's drafted whenever you lend or borrow or whatever is just a smart contract, and and it has a repayment plan and all that stuff. So the interest is compounding and all that stuff. Whenever you borrow, so it's important to just like you would any loan, be paying it off. All right, so let's go up here and see those starred questions that I had. There we go. All right, Fade and Trad 5. I would like to know these. Oh, the pool trackers. That's right. All right. So we'll end on that. I don't see any other questions that I starred. All right, the pool trackers. Let me close some of these other. All right. Let's go to. Go to my Google Drive. All right, here we go. Share screen. All right. So this is something that I got from that group that I've been learning from, Crypto Labs Research, and it's just a free sheet that they. I just want to make sure they get credit. I don't want to say that that I built this out. This is beyond me. I've done a bunch of modifications to it, but again, they have some great tools over there. So you can see, right now I have about $20,000 of liquidity in my DeFi portfolio yearly. I haven't updated this in a couple days, so it could be different. But all of this is auto calculated, so it tells me yearly what I'm making, monthly, daily, what I'm making. Um, the bull run portfolio value is my entire portfolio, and again, haven't updated it in the past couple days. Been on vacation, but it that dashboard is populated off of this. So here's my plume positions, here's my arrow positions, here's that Sonic position, my wrapped ETH position, my locks, my Bitcoin position, just the things that I plug into it. My deposited amount that I initially put in, what the current value is, and basically you just finger fuck this stuff, and it ends up giving you that the analytics basically. And so the more accurate and the more religious you are about inputting this data, then the better you're going to be able to track if you're being profitable or not. So again, that's important. This one I don't really use. This right here again is just some of my liquidity pool positions, and then this is my bull run tracker. So this is basically my portfolio of the amount of arrow I have, the amount of Casper, DAG, Ondo, Plume, ETH, Link, AVAX, Flare, Morpho, and I have some other stuff, but it's just kind of smaller amounts. But this tells me this actually auto populates from offline, because if you look at this, let's see, oh, current price. I we actually added in, from this website, the current asset value. So, as arrow goes up and down, this automatically updates. Here's the current price of ETH, and so it's kind of like Coin Market Cap. Um, but and I can put in, how many tokens I have. And then the cool thing about this is I can put in like, okay, well, what if arrow, with the amount of tokens I have, what if arrow goes up to $10? Then it will tell me, okay, I'll have $210,000. Casper, I have 763,000 tokens. What if it goes to 20 cents? Then I'll have $152,000. So it gives me an idea of potentially, what my portfolio could be worth. So right now, if I, with that its current value, and if it goes to what I am projecting on here, if it goes to that value, if Arrow goes to $10, Casper goes to 20 cents, DAG goes to 50 cents, Ondo goes to 10, Plume goes to $2, ETH goes to 4,000. If they go to those values, I'll have $627,000. And if I 5x my whole portfolio from here, I'll have $243,000. If I 10x, I'll have 487,000. And you can see, why my goal is 500,000. And of course, I have a tracker as well that has my ladder out plan of at what levels I'll be pulling money out to ensure that I'm locking in profits and I don't round trip my bags. But my overall goal is 500,000, and 300,000 of it will be in DeFi, 200,000 of it will be in just probably something like part of it will be on Coinbase earning a steady 5%. Maybe some real estate, things like that. Stuff that I can, maybe make some money outside of crypto, but 300,000 of it will be in DeFi, in basically stables and Bitcoin, until I feel like that, the market dumps and we're deep in the bear, and then I'll start, using the profits that I built up, earning yield in DeFi and stacking those into my USDC and Bitcoin positions. Whenever, I feel like we're at the bottom, I'll start peeling some of that out and start reinvesting into, good, solid altcoin positions and Bitcoin positions. So with that, I'll end it there. Um, Talked your guys' ear off, and I appreciate all of you that hung in there. I just really wanted to do an episode where I got into how I find my pools and the tools that I use. And if any of you have any questions, please reach out to me. I want you all to be successful. I've been successful, and I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. So I know a lot of you out there will be more successful than me, and I hope that's the case. I want you to share with me your successes. Share with the group when we get the Discord going. We got a couple of people in there now to help test it out, and we're building a great community already. We got Crypto Stevo in there, and a couple of the other OGs, and we're just starting to kind of get the banter going, and pointing out some good pools, and just kind of how things are going. But anyway, Ellie, thank you. All of you showing up is what makes me do this. So with that, till next time, Veteran Crypto out.